deal very differently with the idea of the decisive moment. And Tay, I think you've done a really good job here of talking about this work, which is that it's cinematic. So Jeff Wall is a very interesting and complex character. We will look at Jeff Wall a little bit more when we look at conceptual approaches to the folio. But this particular work is based on a painting. So this work, The Destroyed Room, is actually a contemporary reimagining of this painting called The Death of, and my Greek is not very good, so I can't remember. I'll try to say this. Sardanapoulos, I'm not sure. Can't say it. Greek god. So the death of Sardanapoulos. Let me show you the original painting. So here is the original painting. It's a bit small, right? But we can see that it's like set in a room, people in the room, a bit of nudity, but also we've got lots of different things happening and lots of objects in the room. So then Jeff Wall takes this idea and this concept of this image, and he takes like the colors and the essence of the image and tries to imagine what that room would look like after the event of this painting had occurred. If you can get your head around the complexity of that. So this work here of his, which is The Destroyed Room, picks up on those color tones and the shape of like the cloth in the original painting. And he tries to imagine what this would look like if it was one, contemporary, so wasn't in 1827, but what if it was kind of now? What would this look like, and what would it look like if it was post this event? And this is what he imagines that it would look like. So he constructs and kind of sets these things up. But his work has been kind of talked about as being like, I guess, almost like fake photo documentary. Because what he does is he sees, so in this particular work that Tay has put here, it's thinking about traditional paintings and like how to transform them through a contemporary lens. But then in a work like this one here that Altavino has looked at, I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly, with the spilt milk, this looks like it could be happening right now, like the decisive moment. But what's actually happened here is that Jeff Wall sees these things occur and then he kind of recreates them. So he stages this, sets it up so that it looks like photo documentary, even though he is kind of using a more of a directorial approach. But it is the decisive moment because he's still capturing that exact point at which this occurs and happens, even though it's a little bit more staged. Okay. Then we've got Tracy Moffat, who is an Australian artist. And it depends on the body of work that you picked of hers. So some of Tracy Moffat's works capture true photo documentary, and some of Tracy Moffat's works are also constructed photo documentary. So it depends which body of work you had a look at, but we're not going to spend too much time on Tracy Moffat, although thank you, Time, for doing the profile on the artist. The only reason we're not going to spend too much time on this one is because we're looking at Tracy Moffat again next week anyway. So we're going to go a bit deeper into Tracy Moffat because there's a lot of complexity there, like with all of these artists. Fan Ho, Rochelle, you picked Fan Ho, and I know that a few other students also picked Fan Ho, but maybe didn't quite get finished. The thing I think that's really lovely about Fan Ho is the attention to lighting. I think that that's what makes these images particularly beautiful, like that backlit kind of smoke-filled. It's almost slightly what we would call pictorialist, which pictorialism was a genre of photography. Have you heard this term before? Pictorialism. You might have already heard it in earlier weeks with Caroline. Pictorialism. We heard of this? Pictorialism. So pictorialism was a movement of photography in the earliest forms of photography where artists were, hello, welcome, where artists were really fighting for photography to stay an art practice. Scientists wanted to just use photography for scientific purposes. So pictorialism was about trying to still capture beauty and a sense of the awe of nature and poetry of nature in imagery, whereas photography was also being used to document things scientifically, like people and flowers and plants, and pictorialism was about showing the beauty of the medium rather than showing objects for what they are. So scientists, for example, were taking images of things like maybe not water bottles, but like vases of flowers, etc., to try to capture them exactly as they were. Whereas pictorialists, instead of trying to capture things exactly as they were in a photograph, were trying to capture the beauty of what they were. So this often resulted in really interesting considerations of lighting and really interesting considerations of aperture, for example. And what they were saying was, you know, grainy images or images that have interesting light and shadow, whilst they might not be scientifically accurate, they are beautiful images that are like poems in themselves, and they allow people to imagine objects being a particular way rather than them just being as they are. So pictorialism is a really interesting genre. And I guess I'm making a connection between pictorialism and Van Gogh, because when I look at these works, they don't look like they're documentary photography, but they're still very beautiful. It's not like just a shot of some people waiting in a train station, right? It's a shot of some people waiting in a train station that's beautifully lit and considered, and it has that real depth and romanticism in the shot. Okay, Rochelle, thank you for doing the write-up on that one. And then we've got Trent Park, and I would say similar things about Trent Park, although it depends on the body of work that you pick for Trent Park. And we'll be looking at Trent Park next week as well, so I won't go into too much detail. But these are some artists that may inspire your thinking or way of working for your very own folio. Today in the lab class, we are going to do like a little mini practice go of your 50% folio, but supported by other teammates. We're going to do like a group activity, even though your assignment, your final folio assignment is individual, can't be group. But the activity for today will be group. Okay. Hopefully everybody is remaining well caffeinated. So here we go. Artist, curator. Do we remember what a curator is? I talked about it 2 weeks ago. Do you remember the term? It's okay if you don't remember, because I'll tell you again. Keeper of a museum, yeah. What do they do though? Let me run it as a poll quickly. But yeah, you're on the right track. Yep. Just wait and see how many people. 30 seconds. Is it still raining out? See you?
Oh, yes.
Did I say that correctly? See you? See you. See you. See you. See you.
So I can respond to it.
No, I want to get it right. because I hate it when people call me like Celine or Celeste or things that sound, Celeste, things that sound similar to my name. Okay, so bit of a mixed response. So Sean in the room has said a curator is somebody that looks after artworks. Yes, correct. However, a curator also is responsible for like the content of an exhibition. So they have a really important job. So a curator's role in a gallery. So if we imagine this room, if you can see the room, there we go. If you imagine this room is a gallery space, I mean, those concrete walls would look very good with artwork on them, just saying. Maybe we can try to have an exhibition later. If we imagine that this room is a gallery space, the curator's responsibility is to look at the space and to identify what sort of work should be here, but also to identify what the theme of the exhibition might be. So there are different ways that a curator might organize an exhibition. So they might consider the organizational structure of an exhibition through a time period, right? They might go, okay, these photos, I'm constructing an exhibition of photographic works that are from 2004 to 2015. Maybe it's a timeline. Maybe it's a specific artist's work. I'm doing what we call a retrospective. That means we're looking back on an artist's whole body of work. Retrospective. Then we have these exhibitions that deal with themes, right? Like maybe the theme of optimism. And maybe the curator goes and selects artists that they think would either make new work in response to the theme of optimism, or maybe they know of some work that this artist has done that they think, oh, that's an interesting work. Or last week, we looked at cultural approaches, and the approach there for the curator was to pick a work that already existed and then to commission or pay artists to make a series of works that responded to that work specifically. So there's lots of different ways. Today, we're going to focus on that idea of a theme. And the reason we're focusing on that idea of a theme or a concept is because your folio is also looking at a theme or a concept sustained over a series of images, not just a single image that contains that theme or concept. So today, we're going to make a mini exhibition as a class. In pairs, you will make a Padlet post, an artwork, which will include an artwork and a short bio or biography. So one person will be the artist and the other person will be the curator. And if we have groups that are more than two, I'll give you additional jobs. So maybe you have two artists and a single curator. The artist will take the photograph and the curator will organize and select the artwork and write a short biography. And we'll do this kind of as a stepped process. So I just talked about what a curator is. So what we're going to do is I want to put you into pairs, or you can be in three if you want to be in a three. And we might have, no, because if I'm not included in this, are you guys in the?
Yeah, I'm
Thank you, sorry. Okay, so it should be fine because it's counting me and the participants. So there's 14 people in the class, which means we split very nicely into pairs. I'm going to let you pick who you want to be with if you're online. Would you like to do that, or do you want me to pick? I can run that as a poll. Hold on. Would you like to pick your own group? Or would you like to pick who you go with for this activity? Yes or no? Do you want to pick yourselves? Or do you want me to just randomly do it? You have a say. The power is yours. It's very even so far. 30 seconds left. Okay, here we go. All right, so you want to pick who you go with. That's fine. So what I'm going to do for people online, I am going to open up the breakout groups in just a moment and allow you to self-allocate. And if you don't know how to self-allocate, you can tell me in the chat who you want to be paired up with, and I can move you. So just keep in the back of your mind that in a moment, you're going to have to be in a pair. Now, in your group, you get to pick and decide on a theme. These are some suggestions for themes. We could do a theme about beyond the building, a theme about covering ground, a theme about the aberrant object, and a theme about the transparent gaze. Now, these are very complex sounding titles. So what does this mean? Beyond the building, we could do an exhibition about the relationship between the built environment and nature. So you could be thinking about what that looks like. Remember, you can approach that topic in any way that you like. We could do the topic covering ground, which is more about like the ground and the floor, and it's probably a more abstraction style approach to photography. So it's all about like texture and maybe lighting and what you're walking on, the ground. The aberrant object is more of a surrealist. Do we know surrealist? The genre surrealism. So aberrant means departing from the accepted normal. I'm using big words today. And surrealism, let me show you an image. Okay, surrealism is a genre of art making that is just a bit weird. You may or may not be familiar with Salvador Dali and his melting clocks artwork, okay? Something like this where there's a caterpillar, a giant caterpillar. So surrealism is very strange. It's like dreamlike. So this one would typically involve a little bit of post-production. You might need to do a bit of photo editing if you wanted to do this approach. We also had the last topic, which is the transparent gaze, which is a lot of like reflections. So if we're thinking about transparency, we're thinking about things that are slightly see-through, right? So we're thinking about reflections. We're thinking maybe shooting through windows with rain on it. Maybe we're thinking about layers and transparency in post-production, okay, to get depth. They're the four kind of genre ideas. Now, what do we think? Would we like to do every group does the same topic so we can see what everybody's different approach is to the same topic? Because I'm kind of leaning towards that one. All right, so let me run this then as a poll as which one we want to do. And whichever one gets the most votes, and I'll add yours because you guys aren't in the group anymore, so I'll add yours to the running total. Whichever one gets the most votes will be the topic that your group has to do. So let me run this. What topic? Remember, beyond the building is like the relationship between nature and the built environment. Covering ground is like abstraction, and the ground, the floor, like, and textures. The aberrant object is like surrealism, those kooky, weird, dreamlike images. Transparent gaze is a lot of like reflections, layers, transparency, things that are not completely opaque. All right, vote. Which one do you want to do? Have a bit of a think for a minute and then pick which one you think you'd want to do. There's pros and cons for each one. Like some are easier than others, some are more complex, but it depends on what you like doing. So beyond the building, the relationship between nature and the built environment can be any approach to nature and the built environment. Covering ground is like abstraction, and the floor, like what you're walking on. A barren object is like those dream-like, weird images where things aren't quite right. Things seem a little bit strange. Like an example for a barren object, the other week when I was walking through QUT on the ring road, I had an experience that was really surreal where I walked past somebody who was clearly a teacher, and they were clearly a teacher in some kind of medical or like for paramedics, because they were walking down the street with a bunch of severed limbs, like they looked real, like, you know, cut off arms with things sticking out of them and like blood. And he was just walking along with these piles, like in his hands, piles of like cut off arms and like a leg with a knife sticking out of it, just walking along, smiling. It was very weird. And I was like, what the heck is that? It took me a second to realize, like, oh, he must be a teacher. These are fake, you know, they're obviously doing some kind of first aid thing, like where they have to wrap, but it was very bizarre. Well, when I got close, it looked fake, but maybe it's real. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a real life severed limb before. No. I think that image would stay with me forever. Yeah. No. I mean, seen plenty of surgery, like seen on TV, but never in real life. My brother, yes, has seen. That's why he dropped out of medical school and became a lawyer, because he didn't like cutting open bodies. Anyway, true story. I kid you not. He went to his class. They had to do cut up cadavers and see how they all worked. And then he came home and said, medicine is not for me. I think I want to be a lawyer. And he's now a lawyer with his own practice. So, you know, it worked out well. All right, 30 more seconds to pick. Which one do you want to do? You've got 3 votes. Covering ground. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here's the results, and we're going to have a tie between 2. So beyond the building and covering ground, I know covering ground has only got 2 votes here, but there's 3 people in the classroom and they want to do covering ground. So that equals 5. So then it's between beyond the building and covering ground. Let me run that as a quick poll. Okay, between these 2, which one do you want to do? Beyond the building or covering ground? Vote again, and whichever one wins, wins. Can you guys click that or you can't? Do I need to write it again? Online people, can you see it? Oh, okay. Hold on one moment. Can you see now? Is the poll working now or no? Oh.
You need the one that uses. And then you go like.
Hopefully you can see it now. Vote again. Which one? There's 2 left now. Beyond the building or covering ground. Which one do you want to do? If you already voted for another one, I'm sorry, it got knocked out. You now have to pick one of these. Come on, people. Let's go. Time, Vu, Yuki, Kwen, Navini. Click the poll, click the poll. Thanks, Time. Yeah. Time, I think it's because the internet in general is really terrible in Australia, and then you add rain and somehow everything breaks. It's a true story. Every time the weather is bad, the internet is bad. I don't know why. It's awful. Okay. 10 seconds left, and you guys still remaining, your vote is the same? 3? 3 votes? Oy, oy, oy. Okay, here we go. So Beyond the Building has 6 and Covering Ground has 5. However, there are 3 people in the room who are voting all for Covering Ground, which means Covering Ground is your topic. So Covering Ground, abstraction, about the ground, the floor that you're working on. That is the topic that we are going with today. Woohoo! So here's what we need to do. We've got a few different things to do. So I'm going to get you into pairs in a moment. The curator will interview the artist and they will ask questions. And I'll drop the questions in the chat in a moment. And then curators are going to write a little biography and post it to the Padlet when they're done. And artists will have 25 minutes to take 4 to 6 images, 4 to 6 images based on this theme. And then they will share their images with the curator, and the curator will help to select the best images or the best image. And that's the one that we will post onto the Padlet. Okay, so there's a few things that need to happen. The curator will be writing about what the artist. The artist will be making some images. Then the artist and the curator will come back together. The curator will show the artist what they've written about them. And I'll write the prompts in the chat for what the curator needs to do in a moment. And then the curator will help the artist to determine which of the images is best. You can use as much post-production as you like on this one, if you want to. The rules for the abstraction assignment go out the window. You can do whatever you want, okay? Okay, and that's what we're going to do. So step 1, covering ground is the topic idea. The curator and artist might also want to talk about the approach. Maybe the artist is a little lost and they need a little help. For people online, I am going to open up breakout rooms where you can pick your own group, and you're going to be in a pair. So I'm going to make a number of breakout groups here. No, I don't need that many. Okay. So I'm letting you pick your own. If you click where the two people are and it says how many participants there are, you should be able to see a little door with an arrow where you can click into a group. If you don't know how to self-allocate to a group, let me know and I will just send me a PM. I will add you to the group that you want to be in. If you have an idea of who you want to be with, but you just don't know how to do it, let me know and I will add you.
Hi, Finn. I'm not sure. Do you have a choice? Okay, sure. I don't mind. So we're going with the covering ground, right? Oh, the foliage. Oh, not really. I do have few ideas, but it's not like complete. What about you? True, you have to think a lot. So, We take about 4 to 6 and the best one. Isn't it like that? Let me ask. Yeah, according to you, the curator. Sorry. So I need to give you my name, year of birth, nationality, and studies. So I send you the picture, and but you're the curator, right? So I just need to give you the information. Are you supposed to ask me this information? And I tell you, okay. So, me, no, nationality. Lincoln. Oh, year of birth. Oh, you're 2003? Wow. Okay. Something interesting. And where do I send you the pictures? Do I? Okay. Sorry. Oh no, not sure. Yeah. Oh, we need to take it right now. We can't take anything we took before. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still in Sri Lanka. I'm still waiting the visa. Yeah, as soon as I get it, I'm gonna come. So you're in Brisbane? Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah. So I'm hoping that too. I'm gonna send the pictures now. It's taking a bit time because of the internet. Okay, thank you. Yes, I don't know why it's not working. I'm trying to. Yeah, that's what I'm trying. I'm going to share my screen because I don't know why it's not working. You tell me which one is the best one and I'll email that one to you. Because I don't think we can send a lot of pictures in this. Then I sent it to you from my personal email because I don't know why the Outlook is taking a long time. Check if you received it. KVD104. So boring. I'm sharing my screen. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's taking way too long.
Hello. Hi, Rochelle. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, Rochelle.
Oh, sorry, my mic was off. Okay,
I was taking photos a few days ago about covering ground.
Yeah.
Maybe we can use that. I'm sharing my photo to the playground. Can you see that?
Okay. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I don't know why this is taking so long to upload.
Is this can be categorized as a playground or not?
Yeah, it can be.
How about just use this photo instead?
Correct. I think mine's gonna take time. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Okay, I will upload the image to the button again.
Okay. Thank you.
Can see on the Padlet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Great job.
I think the others don't put the biography following.
Yeah, seems like they put it.
Only group 5.
Yeah.
And I think there is not a biography. Oh yeah, yeah. They is a Korean artist studying international justice. Yeah, yeah. That's a correct biography.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Michelle,
Thank
for
you,
the
Finn.
team.
I'm so sorry again.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. See ya.
See you.
Wonderful people, I'm bringing you back now. Hi. Welcome back. If you don't want people
Wow,
to hear
that's-
you, now's the time to
Oh.
turn off your microphone.
That's good. And
Hi. Okay, so you should be adding your images to the class Padlet. I will use these next week as a starting point for our further discussion. So if you didn't get a chance to do that yet, please make sure you do. And also head over to the class Padlet and see what other people did with the same topic as you. Because I guess part of this is that the idea is one thing, but then the way that you approach the concept is another, right? So the idea that you had was all the same. But notice how everybody in this set has approached it completely differently. There are some relationships between these images, but some of them are completely different to others, which is also okay. So next week, I really need for you to have done a bit of work on that PowerPoint where you're thinking about your ideas. Do we remember that one? So in week 7, was it week 7? Or was it week 8? I'm trying to remember.
What? No, it is with me. We wanted to go, right? Yeah.
It was week 8. So the concept development stuff that we looked at last week, so if I share my screen on that, lab session, share. That concept development folio ideas section that we started in class last week, but some of you might not have done because you had the assessment due, I expect that you're coming to class next week with some concepts. That piece is completed. Lots of nodding in the classroom. I'm assuming there's lots of nodding at home as well. I need to start hearing about your ideas because the earlier we start, the better your concepts become, the stronger they become. Because if you don't start early, there's only so much I can do to help you. It gets to a point for me where I realize this student cannot possibly do the amount of work that they would need to in order to do really well. So it gets to a point where my feedback might just be, you need to get this done. Whatever it looks like, you just need to finish it because you need to get a grade because it's 50%. So I'm expecting that you've got some ideas for concept development because that's what we're doing in class next week. And if your ideas are terrible, awesome. Tell me anyway, because we can get them out of the way so that we can get to the good stuff. I think the best advice I ever had was about a piece of writing. So for my master's, my supervisor said to me, you need to write fast and you need to write often so that you can get feedback. So she was saying to me, there's no point in you spending weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks trying to write this perfect thing before you send it to me, because you might be all the way down the track that's the wrong path. You're better off writing fast and showing me your ideas, and then I can correct you and you can make sure that it's better. And we just keep doing that. So I'm not going to sit here and think, oh, you're very silly. What a terrible idea. Right? I might think that, but I'm not going to say that to you, right? I'm going to say to you, okay, not your best idea, but what can we use here? Like what can we do to make this idea even better? Right? Because I'm not interested in you failing. I don't want you to fail. I want you to do really well, actually. And I want to be able to like have humble brag in the staff room. I want to be able to go into the staff room and say, hey, Tim, look at this excellent body of work. Have you ever seen anything that's so beautiful in all your life? I have not. Right? Okay. That's all I have time for today, wonderful humans. I will see you in class next week. I look forward to hearing all about your concept development ideas, even if they're excellent or terrible. I want to hear about it all. Okay. Bye, everyone. Have a nice weekend. If you're in Brisbane, stay safe and out of the rain. We might get flooding, so be careful on the roads. Bye, everybody else. All righty. Thank you. Hope it's nice and sunny where you are. It's miserable here. Miserable. I'm way too extra. Miserable. Thank you. Bye.